Hello gamers, and welcome to my first attempt at a Pokemon challenge video. And I really wanted to do challenges in the later generations, so today I'm starting with Pokemon X and beating the game with only the in-game trade Pokemon. I imagine the most difficult part of this challenge being the beginning of the game, when I don't have many Pokemon to work with, and of course getting through the Elite Four and Champion. But I think the challenge will be fun, as we can get 5 in-game trades in this gen, including an Eevee, which we can choose what we want to evolve it into, which gives us an opportunity to pick from a few types. The rest of our team will be Farfetch'd, which we can get before the first gym, so he will serve as our starter, Steelix in Solage City, and Magikarp and Eevee we get in random hotels throughout the game, and finally Bisharp in Snowbell City, but he's kind of late game in that we can only get him just before the 8th gym. As for the rules of this run, I'm not going to use any items in battle other than held items, and I'm going to be playing in set mode. The only Pokemon I will use in battle are the in-game trades. I'm going to use other Pokemon for 8 gems, but never in battle. I don't plan on over-leveling, but with boosted experience from trade Pokemon and not having many at the beginning of the game, this proves difficult for a while. Well, with all that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoy this run, as I do plan on making more Pokemon challenge videos in the future. So if you do end up enjoying this, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks everyone. And so, our very own Pokemon journey has begun. And I decided that I'm going to name myself Winner, for obvious reasons. Now we meet up with some kids and we have to choose our starter. I figured for this challenge it didn't matter too much which starter I took since we wouldn't be using it for long, and I'm not sure that any starter our rival chooses will change the difficulty too much either, so I just took Fennekin. But not before telling these kids that my name is Winner. Before we can actually start, I have to go tell my mom that I'm leaving to catch Pokemon. Mother, you have not seen the last of me. Goodbye forever! I quickly find the first Pokemon needed for a trade, Buttlebee, since she's right on the first route, but we have to make it through the forest before we can do the first in-game trade. But once we make it to Santaloon City, we are able to make the trade for Farfetch'd, our starter. So we get a Farfetch'd named Quacklin. Quacklin has a jolly nature, so speed up, special attack down, and the ability Keen Eye that prevents other Pokemon from lowering our accuracy. And he already has a decent moveset to carry us through the beginning of the game, especially the first gym. And he's already level 10, and I don't want to level him up anymore, so instead I go to take on the gym immediately. But first we have to beat the girl blocking the gym, but Quacklin's able to handle her just fine, so we head into the gym. Then we make our way through the trainers in the gym, and it's time to face off against Viola, the bug-type leader. But to no one's surprise, this gym was kind of a piece of cake with Quacklin by our side. Good job, buddy. The next part of the game is a long stretch to get to the second gym. It's a lot of running around, and we end up in Lumio City, the most confusing city that the Pokemon game has ever created. I swear, navigating through this is a nightmare. After finishing everything we need to in the city, we continue through Route 5, fight a few of the many rivals in this game, and we make it to Camp Freer Town. Not sure if that's how it's pronounced or not. Here in the hotel is where we can get trades, but we have to talk to the maid or hiker in the hotel on their respective days, and this takes us a while since we have to talk to them each 4 times in order to initiate the trade. Then we have to head over to some rich person's castle to get a flute, and here Shauna lays down the truth. And we have to help him find his dog, and then we get to watch some fireworks, and then finally we get the flute. Then we can finally make our way over to Ambrette Town, where we can get the Old Rod. Then we can fish up a love disc, which is needed in order to trade for Steelix in the next town. And even after all that, we still have to make our way through Glittering Cave and encounter Team Flare before we can finally make it to Solage City, where the next gym is. And we can trade that love disc for our second member, Steelix. We receive a Steelix named Thumper, and he has an impish nature, which ups defense and lowers special attack. And look at that defense stat already. I thought with Thumper on our team we would have no problems with the next rock gym, but we did have a few problems. So in the gym, I know I can go around this trainer, but I couldn't get past the trainer with a Relicanth. Thumper doesn't have the best special defense, and we are weak to water, and Quacklin is weak to rock. And Thumper's barely doing any damage against the Relicanth. I tried changing around their movesets a bit and get Thumper Dragon Breath so we can hit Relicanth's special defense maybe. And finally, with some luck with Dragon Breath, we get the paralysis on Relicanth and we can take it out. The gym leader took me a few attempts. Thumper is too slow, and Bite Flinches take us out against Grant's Tyrant. And Quacklin can't do any damage against either of Grant's Pokemon and is weak to both of them. But I decided to start Quacklin since he's faster and can do a little damage on Amora, so that way Thumper will have more health going into Tyrant. Quacklin uses Knockoff for some damage, Amora uses Thunder Wave, so now we are slower, and it kills us in the next turn with Head Smash. But it also leaves it with recoil damage, which is perfect for Thumper. Thumper takes some damage from Aurora Beam, and Amora goes down to 1 Gyro Ball. We continue to use Gyro Ball against the Tyrant and get fairly lucky not to flinch too much. Grant uses a potion, and we get a crit on the next turn with Gyro Ball, and then finally, with a Dragon Breath, we're able to take down the Tyrant and get the second badge. As we continue on, I make sure to stop at the hotels on different days to keep talking with the maid and hiker to set up for future trades, seeing as if we don't get them soon, our next trade isn't until Snowbell City. There's nothing too notable that happens in the next few cities, but when I stop at Shaller City, I buy some TMs for Dig and Poison Jab, because I know they'll be useful to us. Next we take on Caleb. I start off with Thumper and use Strength on the Meow Stick until it takes him down. Then comes out Frogadier, which can easily take us down with Water Pulses. We land a Strength, and then Caleb decides to go for a Quick Attack, and we take out the Frogadier, but we go down to Absol in return after some bites. Then it's Quick Finish from Quackland, so overall the fight's not too bad. And next we can face off against the gym leader. The third gym is fighting types, so we have an advantage with Quackland, but he is also kind of weak. Karina starts with Mienfoo and uses Fake Out. The next turn Quackland uses Aerial Ace and nearly takes it out in one hit, and Mienfoo uses a Hyper Potion, and the next Aerial Ace takes it out in one shot. Machoke is out next. We use Aerial Ace and bring it to the yellow, and it uses Rock Tomb for big damage, and also a speed decrease. Machoke gets a Hyper Potion, but 2 Aerial Aces later and it's down. And Karina's finally Pokemon Halucha comes out, and it's faster, so we go down to 1 Power-Up Punch. It keeps using Flying Press on Thumper for little damage, and I start with a Smackdown and only does a little damage, and then a Gyro Ball crits, and a second Gyro Ball secures us the 3rd badge from Karina. Then we go back to the Tower of Mastery to obtain our Mega Ring, but I don't plan on Mega Evolving for this challenge anyway. Nothing really happens between here and the next gym. We fight our rival again, and he goes down pretty much the same way as last time. The 4th gym leader, Ramos, wasn't much of an issue for us either. We were able to take his whole team down with just Quackland and some Aerial Aces. I know we were a bit over-leveled, but with only 2 Pokemon and boosted experience from trade Pokemon, it's tough not to be. And that's with skipping as much as I possibly can. Now that we have Fly, I decide to go back to Route 3 to catch a Magikarp and start leveling it up. We will need that Gyarados to trade for a Magikarp later. And yes, you heard that right, we are trading a Gyarados for a Magikarp. We make our way through the power plant and evolve the Magikarp in our party to a Gyarados for later. The fights here are pretty easy though. We were able to easily take out the Team Flare admin and scientists here too. Now we have access to the next gym in Lumio City, but I decided before taking it on we should add 2 more trade Pokemon to our team, so I waited a few days to make the trade with the Hiker for the Magikarp and the Maid for Eevee. I debated for a while what to evolve Eevee into, and I felt like having a Sylveon would probably be the most valuable for us for type coverage. So we finally get the Eevee named Stevie, with a docile nature so it's neutral. It's only level 5 and I decided I wanted to evolve him as soon as possible. So we're going to spend some time in Pokemon-Amie, but only for Stevie to evolve. Otherwise, Pokemon-Amie makes the game that much easier than it already is. And then I go ahead and grab the Magikarp named Carpe Diem with an Adamant nature, which is great for a Gyarados with attack up and special attack down. I spend a while leveling up Carpe Diem and Stevie just to give them their time in the sun, though we can't really use Carpe Diem at the next gym since it's electric and he's 4 times weak. Once Stevie learns Baby Doll Eyes at level 9, he can evolve into Sylveon at level 10, and gets the ability Q-Charm, which means physical attacks against Stevie have a chance of causing infatuation. Also, we level up Carpe Diem to evolve into Gyarados. Also, while exploring Lumio City, I almost had a heart attack during this part. Like, what even is this? I never remember this happening when I played this, and I don't plan on coming back. After training Stevie and Carpe Diem for a while, I decided to take on the next gym, the Electric Gym in Lumio City. I get some of the answers to the questions wrong so I can continue to train up Carpe Diem more. The trainer battles are fairly easy. I try to use Stevie to take out as many trainers as he can so that Thumper doesn't continue to be too overleveled for the gym leader. We finally make it to the gym leader, Clement. I didn't think this would be too much of a challenge for Thumper other than his Heliolisk that has Grass Knot. I decided to start with Stevie though and take out the Emolga before switching to Thumper. Now against the gym leader, he sends out Emolga first, who uses Aerial Ace and is infatuated due to our Q-Charm. But Moonblast takes it out with a crit from our friendship with Stevie. Magneton's out next, and I go for the switch to Thumper since we are weak to Steel type. He just goes for Electric Terrain first though. Magneton then hits us with a Mirror Shot and lowers Thumper's accuracy. Then Dig takes him down to Sturdy. So I go for Crunch on the next turn knowing he will use a potion. He hits us with another mirror shot, and we take very little damage, and the next dig takes out the magneton. Now we have Grass Knot to worry about, but I go for the dig anyway. Grass Knot hits for big damage, but we were able to hit with dig, killing Helolisk in one shot, securing us the Voltage badge. After that, we have to fight one of our many rivals again, and we make short work of him with Stevie, who's super effective against most of his team now. We then make our way through Route 14 and stop by the, scary house. What a ripoff. Nothing else really happens, and we make it to the next town, and I'm not sure how this one is pronounced. I think it's Laver City. Here is the next gym, which is the fairy type. So I prepared Quacklin with Poison Jab and gave him the Poison Barb, and we also have Thumper who resists fairy type moves, so this gym shouldn't be a problem for us. I also decided to buy a new outfit because we gotta look cute while we become a Pokemon champion after all. We make our way through the gym, and now it's time for Gym Leader Valerie. We start with Carpe Diem against her Mawile and use Thunder Wave, while she uses Iron Defense. I switch into Thumper, and Mawile is paralyzed on the switch in. Since she's paralyzed, Thumper is faster and goes for Dig. Dig does more than half damage, and we get a second paralysis on Mawile. So I go for Dig again, and she's paralyzed again. I've never had that much luck before with paralysis. We take out the Mawile with the second Dig. Mr. Mime comes out, and I decide to go for the Iron Tail. Mr. Mime sets up a light screen, and one Iron Tail takes him out. Thank God it hit before he could set up Reflect. Last out is Sylveon, and I go for Iron Tail again, but he uses Charm, which greatly reduces our attack, and he lives with a little under half, so I go for it again. Sylveon uses Dazzling Gleam, which barely hurts us, and we win with the next Iron Tail, giving us our 6th badge with no issues. And we didn't even get to use Quacklin with Poison Jab for the leader, but that's okay, he will have his day eventually. After the gym, we have to head to the Pokeball Factory to take out Team Flare. We get to the Team Flare admin, and she's easy enough to take out with Carpe Diem. And then we have a double battle with Calum on our side. This double battle is pretty easy, and then after the battle we have the biggest decision to make yet. We finally make it to the next town, and we have both the Move Deleter and Move Relearner here, so I decided to remove Strength from Steelix and teach him Fire Fang, as I think it'll be more helpful for the remaining gym leaders in Elite Four coming up. Now we have to make our way through the Frost Cavern to the Abomasnow. We are trying to save him from Team Flare. So I lead with Farfetch'd, but it's just so weak to everything, and I forgot to heal him before coming into the fight. But Thumper and Carpe Diem easily take them out, and we are able to save Abomasnow. And while I'm here, I make sure to get my PP up. Now we have to fight our rival Calum again in Anastair City, and this battle is actually kind of tough. I still have Quacklin in the front, and he can't withstand 2 Psychics, so my Swords Dance setup is for nothing, and I have to switch out to Carpe Diem. And I bite Meowstic until it dies, but not before taking half damage to a few Psychics and disarming voices. Then Calum sends out Greninja. I try using an Ice Fang, but I've taken too much damage from Water Shuriken, so I switch to Stevie, who takes it out with the Moonblast, but we also take some damage. Then comes out Flareon, and I decided to stay in and use Moonblast because I completely forget Fire resists Fairy, because it really just doesn't make any sense to me why it does. So I switch to Thumper, hoping I can survive and get the dig off. We take big damage from Lava Plume, almost dying, and get the burn. But Dig luckily takes out Flareon, but we go down to the burn. So I send out Stevie to take care of Absol, and one Moonblast does the trick. After that, the next thing really just is to take on the 7th gym leader, Olympia. So I lead with Carpe Diem and she leads Sigilyph. I go for Bite, but Sigilyph is faster and sets up Reflect. She uses Psychic and I continue to bite until she goes down. Then Slowking comes out. He knows Power Gem, so I decided to switch out and set up my own screen with Stevie. She uses Power Gem and barely does anything to Stevie. Psychic also barely hurts Stevie, and I go for Toxic while Slowking uses Calm Mind. Then I start going for Moonblast while Slowking continues to Calm Mind. She uses a Hyper Potion and I continue to attack, while Poison slowly takes her out. But she uses Yawn, so I switch to Thumper so I don't fall asleep, and she uses another Hyper Potion, and I stay in with Thumper since I know she doesn't have any water moves on Slowking, and I go for the Crunch and take out Slowking finally. Last out is Meowstic, and she goes for the fake out Flinch. She then uses Calm Mind, and Crunch takes her down to less than half. She goes for Shadow Ball, and it does decent damage, but another Crunch wins the battle, and we get our 7th badge. Now is a bunch of Team Flare shenanigans, but all that really matters here is the Lysander fight, so here goes. I lead with Quacklin and Lysander leads out Mienfu, and I go with Fly, hoping that he'll choose high jump kick, but he doesn't. And then of course Fly misses and I'm hit with acrobatics, so I go for Fly again, and this time Mienfu tries high jump kick and misses, taking huge recoil damage, and Fly is able to take him out on the next hit. Then comes out Gyarados. I decide to switch to my own Gyarados to get the attack drop from Intimidate, and he uses Aqua Tail, dealing almost no damage. So I set up with Dragon Dance, but of course he goes for Outrage and gets the crit, and Carpe Diem is almost dead. I decided to let Carpe Diem go down and we get off one bite before Stevie comes out, who won't be hurt by Outrage. And the Gyarados gets confused from fatigue, so I decide to get in one Calm Mind, hoping he'll damage himself from confusion, and he does. And good thing too, because he had Iron Head and it did almost half to Stevie. Out next is Murkrow, who has Steel Wing and almost takes out Stevie. Q-Charm activates, but it doesn't matter because Moonblast takes him out. Last out is Pyroar, and I decided to go for Toxic, and Stevie can go down for a safe switch to Thumper since it's weak to fire. With the Friendship luck, we're able to hold out against Fire Blast and get the Toxic off. Then we go down the next turn and bring out Thumper, who gets hit with the Fire Blast but survives on 10 health, and luckily is able to take out Pyroar with one dig, winning us the fight against Lysander. After this fight, there's a ton of Team Flare and story stuff that happens. We run into a big guy with a tragic backstory, and we have to fight Lysander again, and it's basically the same fight, but now some of his Pokemon have evolved. There are tons of other Team Flare battles with admins and double battles with Calum, and finally the legendary Pokemon gets released and blah 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 blah. Some story stuff, whatever. Then, we have to fight Lysander for the final time, and he's a robot or something? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to the story. Anyway, here we go. This time he leads Mienshao, and I lead Quacklin. He uses high jump kick and misses, taking recoil damage, while I use Fly. He then uses another high jump kick, and I'm not sure why, because I'm in the Fly, and it's a guaranteed miss. I guess the AI doesn't understand. Anyway, he takes himself out completely with the high jump kick. Then comes out Pyroar. I decided I'm going to switch to Carpe Diem. He uses Fire Blast and it does little damage. I go for Aqua Tail and kill it in one shot, but not before taking some serious damage. Next out is Honchkrow, and I go for Ice Fang, taking it out in one shot. Then comes out his Gyarados, which has Intimidate, so I decide to switch to Stevie, thinking he might go for an Outrage. The Gyarados Mega Evolves and goes for Outrage just as I thought. I go for Moonblast, but he uses Iron Head, taking me down in one hit. I bring out Carpe Diem again and give it the attack drop, and I go for a Bite since I forgot to put Outrage on my Gyarados and maybe get the flinch, and we go down after barely doing any damage. But he is locked in Outrage, so I bring out Thumper and use Dig, hoping he will hit himself a few times. Sure enough he does, and I can land a few digs. We get lucky with a crit as well. We get hit by an Aqua Tail, but we tank it and knock out the Gyarados with one last dig, winning us the fight against Lysander for the last time. After the story is done, we have our final rival fights with Shauna, Tierno, and Trevor. Stevie is able to take out Shauna on her own though, but not without getting some saves from the Friendship. Man, those happen way too much. It's too bad that's how you have to evolve Sylveon. Then after Shauna, we immediately have to fight Tierno without being able to heal or change our party route. Tierno leads with Talonflame, and I switch in Carpe Diem, and Talonflame just uses Acrobatics for little damage. I take one more Acrobatics and take out the Talonflame with one Aqua Tail. Then comes out Roserade. I go for an Ice Fang and she just barely hangs on and hits us for big damage with Petal Dance. I use Ice Fang again to take her out since I'm faster. Next is Crawdon, and I go for Aqua Tail just to get some damage off, and I send out Stevie since he's faster than Crawdon. We use Moonblast and take him out in one shot. And then we have to fight Trevor, but this time we get healed before the battle. We use Calm Mind to set up with Stevie, and then hopefully Moonblast can take out his team. Floor just gets a crit Moonblast on us, and it takes 2 Moonblasts to take her out. We are just under half health and Aerodactyl comes out. Aerodactyl doesn't have any super effective moves to hit us with, but he can still probably take us out at this health. But I go for Moonblast anyway. And we survive the Sky Drop, and he gets infatuated, but we can take him out with one Moonblast. We also get Waterfall, so I replace Aqua Tail on Gyarados for the 100% accuracy move. Now we can go ahead and find our last trade Pokemon, Jigglypuff on Route 20. And finally, we trade for our last Pokemon, a Bisharp named Pierce. He's level 50 and has an adamant nature, which is the best one he can have, with attack up and special attack down. He has the ability Defiant. When his stats are lowered, his attack stat will be boosted, so that could come in handy. I decided to go back to the move relearner to give Pierce Iron Head before heading to the gym. I want Pierce to have his turn and take out the gym. Time for the final gym leader, Wolfric. He starts with a Bomb of Snow that starts Hail. Pierce uses one Iron Head, taking it down. Then comes Cryogonal. He uses Confusion, but we break through and hit one Iron Head, taking it out. And then it's Avalugg. We snap out of Confusion and hit one Iron Head for half its damage, and it uses Curse to raise its attack and defense and decreases speed. He also gets the heal from Hail because of Ice Body, so a second Iron Head definitely won't take him down anymore. But we continue to go for Iron Head, taking it to the red, but it hits us hard with Avalanche, almost knocking us out. He uses a Hyper Potion, but I just keep going for Iron Head to chip away at his health. We land another Iron Head, and luckily we get the flinch on Avalugg, and one more Iron Head takes him out, winning us the final gym badge. Nice job, Pierce. Finally, it's time for our last fight with Caleb, our main rival. He starts Meowstic, and I bring out Quacklin. He uses Fake Out and Flinch. So the next turn, I U-turn out, hitting for decent damage, and switch into Thumper. Meowstic uses Shadow Ball and gets the special defense drop, but one Crunch takes it out. Next is Flareon, so I switch to Carpe Diem, and he uses Lava Plume for little damage to us. Waterfall takes it out on the next turn. Then comes Greninja. He hits us with Dark Pulse for some damage, and we take him below half with Earthquake. Dark Pulse brings us low, but we take it out with the next Earthquake. Now Altaria is out, and we go for Ice Fang, taking it out in one shot because the 4x weakness to Ice. Last out is Absol, so I go for Waterfall to get some damage, and it takes us out with one Night Slash. I throw out Thumper so he can get more experience and use Earthquake. His Night Slash crits on us, but we tank it and take out the Absol, defeating our rival Caleb once and for all, proving that we're the better rival. Now all that's left for us to do is to make it through Victory Road and face off against the Elite Four and Champion, so let's go! I won't bore you with any of the Victory Road shenanigans or the training we did. I got the team up to level 64, as the highest level for the Elite Four is 65, and the Champion's Ace is level 68. So now it's time to start. First I go against Elite Four Malva, the Fire-type trainer. I lead out with Quacklin against her Pyroar just to put some damage with U-turn. We survive her Uproar and U-turn into Carpe Diem. I know Pyroar has Wild Charge, but she's a special attacker, and we get the Intimidate, lowering her attack, so I'm hoping we can tank the Wild Charge. I go for Waterfall and she uses Wild Charge, and we survive it just fine and take her out with Waterfall. On Torkoal, I decide, even though it has Stone Edge, that we have to get at least one Dragon Dance to outspeed and take out Talonflame next. So I go for Dragon Dance, and she misses the Stone Edge, and we take her out in the next turn with Waterfall. Then Talonflame goes down in one Waterfall, thankfully, but we do get burned from the Flame Body, which halves our attack. I stay in with Gyarados just to do some damage to the Chandelure, but we actually get a crit taking out with Waterfall. Not too bad. Next up I go for Wickstrom, the Steel-type leader. Klefki starts with Spikes. I use Earthquake, almost taking it out. He full restores, so I go for Earthquake again, so he will waste all his heals on Klefki. And sure enough, he heals again. So I go for Fire Fang this time. He uses Dazzling Gleam for a bit of damage, and finally an Earthquake takes it out. Probopass is out next. It does have Discharge, but it's not going to use it against Thumper, so I have a safe switch to Carpe Diem since it will outspeed. It uses Earth Power, which doesn't affect Carpe Diem, and we nearly take it down with one Waterfall, but we do end up surviving the Discharge, and we take it out with a second Waterfall. Out next is Scizor. I go for Earthquake and we survive a crit Night Slash, then we go down to Bullet Punch the next turn, so I bring Thumper back out to go for Fire Fang, and we take it down in one hit. Last out is Aegislash, but all we can do is attack, and it protects and gets the attack drop on us. It hits us for a lot of damage, and I go for Crunch again, but another Sacred Sword takes us out. So I send out Pierce and go for Night Slash, and we win the battle. Second Elite Four down. Next I decided to go for Drasna. She should be an easy sweep for Stevie, but her first Pokemon, Dragalge, is part poison and knows Sludge Bomb. So I decide I'm going to lead out with Carpe Diem since he will be faster, and we can use super effective Ice Fang, and hopefully take it out before she uses Thunderbolt on us. I also give Carpe Diem an Ice Plate to hold to boost ice attacks. So we go for Ice Fang and it doesn't take her out in one hit, but we get the freeze, but we also got poisoned. And she full restores Dragalge, and we keep using Ice Fang until we finally take it out. Next out is Altaria, who is 4 times weak to ice, so 1 Ice Fang takes her out. Noivern is also 4 times weak to ice, but she outspeeds, almost killing us, but we're able to take her out with 1 Ice Fang before going down to poison. So I send out Stevie to finish off Dredagon with 1 Moonblast, winning us the battle. It's funny, Carpe Diem ended up taking out most of her team instead of Stevie. Ah well. Last Elite Four is Seabold with a team of water Pokemon. I decided to lead with Quackland to use Toxic on Clawitzer. Quackland is able to get off the Toxic and even survives 1 Water Pulse. So I U-turn into Carpe Diem assuming it will Water Pulse again, and the Water Pulse hits us for little damage. On the next turn we use Earthquake, almost taking it out, and it hits us with Dragon Pulse to under half, but poison damage takes it out. Up next is Barbacle, so I just go for Earthquake and we take it to the yellow, but we go down to a Stone Edge. I send out Pierce next and use Grass Knot and take it out. Next comes out his Gyarados with Intimidate, but our ability sharply raises our attack, so now we are at +1 attack. We survive an Earthquake and take it out with 1 Night Slash. Last is Starmie, but we couldn't survive the Surf. So I send out Stevie and it uses Light Screen, so I decided to put up my own Light Screen since Moonblast didn't hit for much. We got the special attack drop though. I then go for Calm Mind since Surf and Psychic aren't hurting us for much. He uses a full restore when we get him to the red, and then Light Screen finally wears off. Starmie goes for Surf, and our next Moonblast takes him out. And that's all the Elite Four, so next is just the champion. Finally, it's time to face off against the champion, Diantha. I lead out with Carpe Diem since her Hawlucha can't do too much to him, and we can set up Dragon Dance while also getting the Intimidate off. She uses Swords Dance and we Dragon Dance. We outspeed next turn and take her out in 1 Ice Fang. Next out is Auroras. What a beautiful but super weak Pokemon. 1 Waterfall takes her out. Next is Tyrantrum. 1 Waterfall takes it to less than half, and a Head Smash takes out Carpe Diem in 1 hit, but also takes down Tyrantrum too. I go with Pierce thinking she will send out Gourgeist next, and she does. So I go for Night Slash, but she outspeeds and uses Phantom Force, but it doesn't do too much damage. And Night Slash almost takes it out, and she full restores, and I decided to just keep doing this so she can waste her full restores now, until Night Slash finally takes her out. Next is Goodra, so I switch into Stevie who tanks a Focus Blast. So I go for Moonblast, and of course she gets a crit on Fire Blast. Moonblast brings Goodra to yellow, she uses Fire Blast again, and we are in the yellow. And we finish the Goodra with Moonblast. Last is Mega Gardevoir. So I just hit Shadow Ball hoping we can get a shot in, but our Moonblast takes us out in 1 hit before we can do anything. So I go for Pierce and use Iron Head, but our Moonblast once again takes us out. Next in is Thumper. She uses Shadow Ball for less than half, but luckily an Iron Tail hits and takes her down in 1 shot, winning us the Pokemon Championship. This has been a fun challenge, and I knew it wouldn't be super difficult with the in-game trade Pokemon we were given, but I still enjoyed going on this adventure, and hope to continue doing Pokemon challenges, and picking up harder ones as we go along. I hope you all enjoyed watching this, and I think for the next one I'm going to tackle this game again, but the challenge will be no new moves. So like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks everyone.